name is Clethia Jackson. I'm doing my presentation on stereotypes and discrimination. I passed out a contents page of my presentation listing some of the topics that I'm going to be going over today. I will have a quiz, a pop quiz at the end. It's just a 2-minute pop quiz. Whoever gets the most right or finish it first gets this little bag of candy. So, got some good candy too. I paid it by the pound. But anyway, so if I repeat the word twice, that means it's gonna be on the quiz. So you might wanna write it down, write the definition down on the contents page that I gave you. So I'm gonna start my presentation off talking about ageism. Ageism is when you have negative stereotypes against the elderly. Okay, it can lead to stereotype, prejudice, and discrimination. Stereotypes is when you have a general character, when you have in your mind what you think about a particular group is. You have general characteristics about that group. Prejudice is when you have negative attitudes towards a person or towards a group. So ageism is kind of like prejudice, but ageism focuses on the aging. And discrimination is actually when you go out and you treat them unfairly. The Age Discrimination and Employment Act, the ADEA, that prohibits discrimination based on age, covering those from 40 to 65. So it was meant to protect those. It was actually meant for, when they created that act, the ADEA, it was actually meant for companies to hire the elders. That's what it was based off of. The Age Discrimination Act of 1975 prohibits age discrimination in all programs or activities receiving federal assistance. Now, let's talk about downsizing. Downsizing is an excuse that companies use to get rid of the elders. So, for example, this is a perfect time that companies might use this excuse by saying, hey, we need to downsize because of financial reasons, but in actuality, the person are elders. So basically what we want to achieve is we want to not discriminate them based off their age, but what we want to do is hire them based off their skill. So yes, there are elders out there that are incapable of doing particular job. They're just incapable. So, but you want to, when you hire them, you want to look at the skill level they have and if they're capable of doing that skill. You don't want to discriminate on age because there are some, research has proven that there's some 30-year-olds that can function just as well as 80-year-olds. So some of the activities that downsizing that you'll see in companies that it'll start with, they'll start excluding older workers from particular activities. They'll start forcing older workers out of the workforce. And they'll pressure them by giving financial incentives. Hey, if you take early retirement, I can give you extra month worth of pay, stuff to that nature, just to force them out of the workforce. Why do you think that they want to force them out of the workforce? They want to force them out because each level, each year that they gain experience with the company, you're expected a pay raise. Eventually, after a certain amount of years, you're expected raises. Well, eventually, these companies get tired of paying these elders all this money, so they want to get the new guy in and pay them at somebody who just graduated and say, hey, we can pay you a lower rate, but you can still do the skill. Some of the signs that you'll notice is, for example, if you're on the job 27 years and you got all this good experience, and then all of a sudden, you're the only person on your level that can do that job. Then all of a sudden, they have a new person come in that's younger, and they want you to train that person. That's a sign right there that you might be getting the boot pretty soon. So you want to do what you can, still be professional, but at the same time, work to save your job. Don't let anybody just force you out of your job because of your age. If you're capable of still doing that skill, then you need to do so. The Age Discrimination Employment Act. We have the EEOC. That is the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They're responsible for enforcing the ADEA. They go after people who discriminate wrongly against the elders, things to that nature. Each year, there's an incline. So on 2011, there was a total of $95.2 million paid out to elders who were wrongfully terminated or whatever, to that nature. So $95.2 billion were paid out. Now the EEOC, what they do is once they get a claim, they're going to investigate it. They're going to first attempt to seek a settlement. If they find there's a reason for the investigation, they're going to attempt to make a settlement. And then if the company don't want a settlement, then they're going to take them to a civil court. They're going to file a civil suit to take them to court. For example, if possible remedies for discriminations include back pay, so you can get back pay if you were found that you were wrongfully terminated based off discrimination. You could get a promotion, or one of the agreements could be, hey, give me my job back, and they'll have to do so. Also, payment of attorney fees, expert witness fees, and court costs can also be sought. My theory is Karl Marx. Karl Marx is actually the founder of conflict theory. The conflict perspective says that social problems are natural and inevitable because of a social struggle. Social struggle. I have a word, probably S words. It's basically saying that conflict is over limited resources and that you have to fight for them. So how does this pertain to the elderly? So basically what the conflict perspective is saying is that, hey, the elders, they have to fight with us to get the resources today. They have to compete with us. Nothing is given. That's what the conflict perspective is saying. So for example, the Townsend Club, that was a whole bunch of elders right before the Depression hit. They all got together and said, hey, we're in poverty because of the Industrial Revolution. So what we need to do is we need to fight. We need to fight to get some type of benefits. So it's not like Roosevelt just sat down and said, hey, we're going to get Social Security benefits. That's not how it happened. The Townsend Club, which was a group of elders, they actually used their political force to force Roosevelt to give them Social Security benefits. So the typical stereotypes for elder include senile, grumpy, not physical active. Sometimes you go into a nursing home and you hear people say, oh, hi, sweetie, hi, dear. That's wrong. That's typical. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. You know, yeah, you may call unless you call your friend sweetie and everybody else, you don't want to do that to the elders. They're already losing their independence. Sometimes you see people treating them back to that child stage, but they're not actually a child. So we're going to talk about stereotypes in the healthcare world. This is actually a good book. It's called Seeing Patients by Dr. White. He's a black surgeon in the field. And he has so much experience in this field. And he basically states in this book about discriminations against, he talks about discriminations against gays, against blacks, Hispanics, and the elders. There's a quote in here and it says, if you're going to have a heart attack, an organ transplant, or a joint replacement, here's the key to getting the very best medical care. Be a white, straight, middle-class male. So this is from his experience. He's giving you like basically an inside look of what's going on. Many scientists, they debate about what you don't realize is a lot of doctors actually have a different perspective. Like some doctors believe, hey, why are we giving them joint replacements? Why are we helping the elderly when it's only going to sustain their life for a few more years? So some doctors actually believe that. They think there's no reason to help the elderly because they're going to die anyway. And some don't. So that's why gerontology, the study of elders, gerontology, I said it twice, that's why it's so important because these doctors focus on the elderly. Because a lot of times the elderly are already having issues. They're having several illnesses at one time. They need somebody to talk on behalf of them. So because of that, because they need that, that's why geriatric medicine is so important because they're going to actually sit down and say, hey, you know, what does this patient need? And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you. If you ever want to file discrimination suit against yourself or against an elder, you can go downtown. I don't know if it's downtown. It's 1201 Louisiana Street. And you can also visit the website on www.1.eeoc.gov.